I know someone. My journey with mental illness began about 11 years ago with my past wife. One day she said to me that she can't remember the last time that she had a good night's sleep. For me, I can't fathom what that would be like.
My experience with mental health is related to my brother. It began more than 10 years ago when he had a marriage breakdown and began dealing with problems associated with that. When we found out about that, we all felt helpless. We all knew that there was problems. We all tried to help. Unfortunately, my brother attempted to take his own life as a result. Unfortunately, he was successful.
My dad was diagnosed with major depression. So as a child, I grew up with him quite severely depressed. At times, he was even suicidal.
I am someone. 2014, I experienced a marriage breakdown. I guess it was affecting my work at some level. It was affecting my social ability to interact as well.
Always knew something wasn't quite right there, but I never addressed it and started realising what it was until I was about 23 years old, and I actually tried to commit suicide myself. I was just finished university and I just felt alone. I had so many friends and people around me who I probably could have turned to, but I was too ashamed to talk up and let them know how I felt.
My journey with mental health has been a lifelong journey. With my diagnosis, it was something that was found out quite young as a child. I think I was 5 or 6. I was having troubles in childhood, I felt quite numb and it was hard for me to experience different things. It's something that I've had to work through and will continue to work through for my entire lifetime.
My, mental health problems were, I suppose, when I was playing full-time rugby league. I went through a bad stage there where I signed for another club and I was a marquee signing, and I blew my knee out, unfortunately, and it sort of spiralled from there. I wasn't playing good footy, and it was a bad time in my career. It was the worst form I'd ever been in, and it just got, it just ended up multiplying and compacting from there on, yeah.
I am someone. I wasn't really concentrating too much on what was actually happening on the field. I'd even rock up to games and people would know I just wasn't there, and because you're being in such a new side, they kind of thought that this was the normal, but if it was anyone else who did know me, they kind of would know that it wasn't usually me.
I've had quite a long experience with mental illness now, not just from a personal point of view, but also from friends and family. For me, it probably started when I moved out of home and started chasing a dream to play NRL. And obviously there's always setbacks, and I think a big thing with rugby league, there's a lot of ups and downs, and sometimes it does get pretty tough to deal with. Everyone had always seen me in this positive light. I'm out there achieving my goals, everything was happening for me, and it was like for me to ring them up and tell them that everything's not going so well. It was a hard thing to do.
I think it was a pretty dark days for me, and I made a phone call to our doctor, and I booked an appointment, and I just for I think the whole basically hour I just unloaded on him what I'd felt, and he didn't even ask what was wrong with me. I just let it all out, and it was the best thing I've ever done, is gone and talked to someone about it.
One life is too much to mental health when we can all help out. Everyone needs to stop that stigma of the fact that you can't talk about it. Biggest thing I think I learned is that when you get to that point, that there's always someone that will listen, and you just got to talk about it.
It's never too late to speak up. If you have any issues going on, either at work or in your private life, always put your hand up.
I feel strongly about breaking down the stigma associated with mental illness as well, because A lot of times we look at the illness instead of the person that's behind it, and just because they're going through something that's tough at the time doesn't mean that they're any less of the person that they were.
If you do a little bit of research, and there's a massive amount of information just online that you can search privately by yourself to help you recognise where people are struggling and what you can do. You know, one of the worst things you could say to somebody that suffers is just get over it. If you've ever said that, maybe ask yourself, don't you think they've tried to?
I know now that as dark as things get, there will always be another side, and I've just got to work through it.
The people that do know, you'd be quite surprised how supportive they are. And you'd be quite surprised at how many people out there do have it and don't report it because they're afraid that it might affect their job prospects. And I was the same, but I'm at a stage where I'm not afraid anymore for it to be out there because it is a real thing, and you need that support and you need them to know. It's not because you're going to do self-harm. It just allows them to give you that help if you really need it.
I've found it particularly helpful to talk to my work colleagues. I really don't think I would have been able to cope as well as I did without talking to them.
Help is always there. Often it's that people don't recognise the need to ask for help or don't recognise how unwell they are, but there is always help available. Whether it be, a family member, a good friend, or your boss, your local doctor, just let somebody know that you're struggling.
Once you're okay with admitting mental illness, people aren't awkward with you. I would never be awkward towards somebody who has diabetes or epilepsy, and in same, other people are not awkward towards me once they know my condition.
I think the most important thing is to know that there is help out there, even if you're not going through the mental illness yourself. As a carer or someone who's close to someone who's going through it, there is help available for you as well.
It could be a dark place, and the one thing that I learned, seeking help really, it just, when you're that low, it only gets better, so there's no other way, it's not going to get any worse, and don't do anything silly because you've got so many people around you that love you and care about you, and I don't know whether you have kids or what the situation is, but it's not worth it. It's life's too good.
Some days are better than others.
But every single day is worth it.
Stress, anxiety and worry are a part of being a human. They're a part of life.
You're going to be fine. It's going to be okay.
You can do this.
You can do this.